Welcome to Making It with Terry Woolman, the show that explores the secrets, successes, and strategies for making it in the music biz. And now, here's your host, Terry Woolman.
I'm Terry Woolman, and my guest today is drum artist Jonathan Sugarfoot Moffett. I appreciate you joining us every week, and I'd like to share my intention that inspires this podcast. Time passes quickly, and I've learned that we should do what's in our hearts and do it well without apologies or excuses. I encourage you to create your life and art in your own unique way and express your artistry with joy and with abandon. Be willing to work uncompromisingly for what you believe in. Success will have a better chance of finding you when you live your life with integrity, focus, and passion. Be selfish with your discipline and selfless in your performance. And don't forget to have fun along the way. Also, by the way, for those who don't know, I'm an artist myself as well, and I've got a new acoustic guitar single that's out. It was just released on Spotify this week, and it's called Cassini's Last Dance. And it was inspired by the Cassini JPL NASA collection of international scientists. And by the way, thank you. I hear you all applauding, so thank you for that. So it's a piece. There's a video as well. But go to Spotify and stream it, share it, download it, and help us move up the Spotify charts. It's already on their radar and getting some great attention. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me tell you about my guest today. Jonathan Moffett, who goes by the stage name Sugarfoot, is an American drummer, songwriter, and producer from New Orleans, Louisiana. Since 1979, he has collaborated with the Jackson family over the course of 30 years, particularly with Michael Jackson. Jonathan has recorded and performed with notable artists and producers, including Madonna, George Michael, Elton John, Stevie Wonder, Quincy Jones, and so many others. We're going to talk about it now. Jonathan Moffett, welcome to Making It.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you're well.
Unmute yourself, Jonathan. I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry.
There you are.
All right, here I am. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the show. I think during this time we'll be spending our time well with each other.
Yeah.
In union and communion of information and knowledge and of shared experiences and lives. So I'm looking forward to spending this time with you guys, all of you, each and every one of you. I appreciate your appreciation of my work, and I love you one and all.
And so we begin. So everybody knows, Jonathan, you and I have been friends for many years, and of course we haven't seen each other for a while because of COVID and life. You know, when we weren't pre-pandemic, we were always busy, moving around the world and staying busy. We normally see each other once a year or so, and I always look forward to it. But I've had such great experiences with you playing music, performing on TV and recording, and it's always been a pleasure. So it's really a treat to just spend an hour with you, not working, and talking about life and music.
Yeah, we've had some wonderful times and memories together, and that's what life is about, the time spent. We're given time in life once we're born to share it and do it how you want it, live the life you want, design the life you want, you wish, share it with the people that you like and you want to be around. And you and I have spent some wonderful times creating music for others and for ourselves, because we enjoy performing. So we create music for ourselves as well, for our own pleasure and while doing it. So we've had some wonderful memories, and I've always cherished them and still do. And we've helped a lot of artists' careers to lift up and elevate to the stature and the status that they are now. And I feel that I'm fortunate to be able to have shared my gift in that, the participation in what they did, and people enjoy the whole of everybody and everyone. So it's been a blessed life, and I've been a fortunate young boy, a little boy that's grown up and still enjoying what he does and what he chose to do, and enjoying traveling the world and sharing my gifts with everyone.
You know, that speaks to what I just mentioned in my mission statement for this show, which is being selfless in your performance. You know, it's really interesting to hear you say that part of your intention when you're playing has been to lift the people, the artists, and their careers by contributing your gift to what they do?
Yeah, because what we do is given meaning by the people who appreciate it. And of course, we love having fun doing it, but if you don't get the appreciative response from the listeners, that they're into what you do, they're glad they're spending the time with you, they understand and feel more so feel what you do, because what we do is we spread feelings. We're like shaman. We spread the soul, and we share our soul with everyone who's got a pair of ears or an ear that was willing to listen to what we do. And that's what makes it worth something, that other people see the worth in us of what we do. And that's why we practice so hard, because we're addicted to that feeling of gratification that we get from the people who appreciate our work and listening to us, spending their times of their lives listening to us. And it's all about the soul shared experience, because music is about sharing our souls with one another. Mm-hmm. Us to the audience sharing their souls of feeling what we do. So it's like a cycle of love, a cycle of feeling, positive feeling, and enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment. That's why I consider us musicians and artists shaman. We're shaman. We speak with the soul, and we're people of soul. And everybody is, but we are to a special degree because we can communicate language in a very special way. That's called music. Mm-hmm. And not everybody can do that. And so we've been given a great gift and great responsibility to share spirit. We share spirit with you, and we love you for enjoying what we do and appreciating the time we spent developing what we do, because we spend a lot of time getting to where we are. Trust me, a lot of hours, countless hours, and all for the purpose of sharing it with you, and you getting that soul reward from you, that you mm-hmm. feel me, you feel what I do.
I really appreciate you using the word shaman to describe what it is we do, because it's true. You know, I hadn't quite thought of it that way. I do always consider that what we do is we're involved in this energetic exchange of creating a healing through music. You know, when we record, when we perform, when we speak, you know, even right now. So let's talk about what you had mentioned when we began this conversation about being a young, small boy with dreams. Yeah, you grew up in Louisiana, and you started young. You started playing drums around 4 or 6 years old, I think.
6 years old.
6 years old. And something also really interesting about you that I never really knew was around that same time you started drawing as a visual artist as well.
Yes.
And you've been doing both of those things your whole life, and at an equal level. That I knew about your design skills, which we'll be talking about during our conversation about designing all of your very unique drum kits for each tour and artist that you worked with. But so tell me about your family. I know that you come from a somewhat musical family, and were you encouraged to pursue your artistic journey? You know, your curiosity. You know, little 6-year-old Jonathan. You know, drawing and starting to hit pots and pans. Or actually, I know you were drawn to bass as well. You know, that there were other instruments.
Right.
So I'm going to shut up. You tell me about what it was like what it was like in your family when you were coming up.
Well, a lot of people don't know that I started drawing before I started drumming. I started drawing at the age of 4 years old. And the first thing I drew was a horse, a 3-legged horse, mind you, on the wall behind the door so my parents wouldn't find it. I saw it. I wouldn't get in trouble with drawing on the wall. But they opened the door and they said, "What's that?"
Right, until you became a parent and you realize you don't miss nothing when you got kids.
Yeah, I figured it out. That's how inside, didn't know what it looked. So I thought I hit it really well. But anyway, that was the first thing I drew, was at 4 years old on the wall, a drawing of a 3-legged horse, because I love horses. And so anyway, that was the beginning of my art career, which blossomed into a lot of different things I was drawing. But I'm an avid Marvel comic character person, and I learned how to draw them just like in the comic books. You look at my work, and you thought it was torn out of the pages of the comic book. I had gotten it down to that well. So I love doing that. So anytime I wasn't drumming, practicing my drums, I was drawing for hours at a time. I miss learning a lot of things most kids took to do. Like I never know how to swim. I'm terrible at basketball. I can play football, but basketball I just don't. And the other things that the kids were out there doing, I was in there either drawing something from the comic books or the Hot Rod magazines, and designing something, or I was spending hours on time on my drums. My father came home from work from the post office where he was a supervisor at the main post office in New Orleans. And one of his coworkers' kids were into music. And he asked his coworker, what did your kids do to say, how do you keep them out of trouble? He said, well, I got them into music. And he found out that. He said, yeah, get your kids into music, keep them out of trouble and stuff. And I was 6. My dad come home that night and got us, called me and my 2 brothers and to the kitchen and by the refrigerator and start talking to us, how would you guys like to play music? And we knew music. Yeah, kids, we like to play music. Yeah. So, but we didn't know everything about music. So he said, yeah, so okay, great. I'm gonna buy you guys instruments and you can form a band, the Moffett band. So, and play together. And so we was all happy. And my brothers being older, they got first choice over me. I said, good, I'm gonna play bass. And then my oldest brother said, I want to play bass. And I said, oh. I said, oh man. And then he said, I want to play saxophone too. So I like saxophone. So my dad said, okay, you can play bass, but I think I'm gonna start you with the saxophone. So he started with saxophone, later picked up the bass. My second brother his turn came, and my dad said, well, do you want to play Adrian? My older brother's name was Oren. And my second brother named Adrian. Both of them unfortunately passed away now, but we had our band. And he said, Adrian, what do you want to play? And Adrian said, I want to play guitar. I said, oh, that was my second choice. I said to myself, oh man, I messed up. And so he got to me and he said, Jonathan, what do you want to play? And I said, I want to play guitar. And he said, no, we can't have all guitarists in the family because we're going to play bass and Adrian's going to play guitar. We got to play something different. The only other instrument I could think of or knew was drums. And I said, all right, I'll play drums. I was stuck with drums and I was like down about it. I wanted to play bass really bad. So I was stuck with drums, okay? So I said, okay, I'll play drums. He said, okay, I'll get you a drum, a marching drum so you can learn on. And then when I got my first private lessons with a teacher that taught it in the neighborhood, not in the neighborhood, it was a distance away, but not too far, like 15 minutes drive away, and named Mylan Jones. And each one of us had an hour with him. No, half an hour with him. And I got to learning how to coordinate and control and rule my body and the limbs and make it do what I wanted to do. And I became fascinated with that there's a sense of power that you gain from learning how to manipulate your body in certain ways, especially that's creative. And I start feeling like I could do these roles and different things and these patterns. And first, of course, you don't get it. Then you start coming together and start gradually getting it even and time and stuff and the right hand at the right time. And I start realizing this is cool, this is fun. So I wound up through the course of that period of time, loving and having gratitude for the sense of creative control power of my body and my limbs. I can make my body do things I want it to do, in a creative way, different from just running down the street and hold your arms up and catching the football. I can make musical sounds and rhythmic sounds with my arms and hands and stuff and do the double stroke bounces and stuff. I said, this is cool. I'm learning something. I'm capturing my abilities that I can be great at this. And I absorbed that. And it got inspired over the time. In 9 months, I did these lessons. I got really good at it. And my teacher was saying, man, he's the best of all 3 of them. He's really getting it. I told my dad, I thought you said you didn't want to play drums. So I started on a marching drum, snare drum at 6 years old. The subsequent birthdays after that, I got a bass drum and a cymbal the next year, and foot pedal, of course, and a hi-hat. Then the next birthday, I got 2 toms on top of the bass drum. And then the next birthday, I got a floor tom and 2 more cymbals. So by 9 years old, I had a whole kit. But this was the beauty of that, is piecemeal.
It gave you time to actually develop a relationship with each of the instruments in the drum kit.
That's what I'm about to say, how to incorporate. And that's an interesting way to learn. And that's why I can manipulate and be musical in each show. People say, boy, your hi-hat work is so musical. You play like melodies on hi-hat. Because I had a year at that time learning how to explore.
That's all I had, that and the snare.
Yeah. So your bass drum technique and patterns is really musical and fast. So I had a whole year to work on that and conceive conceptual rhythms with that, how to incorporate it with the snare and hat. And same thing with the toms. You want to go around the toms within the rhythm context with the bass drum and the snare drum, I do melodies. So I had a year on the 2 ragtimes to develop melodies because that's all I had. I couldn't go down to the right because there was nothing there, no floor time. So then when I got to floor time, I could go to the right and incorporate that tone and pitch. So that's an interesting way to develop as opposed to getting a whole kit at one time and starting on learning the whole kit. So at the time, I was feeling like, man, this is terrible. Everybody else got a whole kit. I got little pieces of kit. I felt bad as a kid. You feel that way, like, deprived of it. But I realized as I got older, the benefit and what I just explained, there's a benefit to that. So I had a year of each element of the kit to learn how to incorporate it, manipulate it, and be creative with it before I got the whole kit as one complete setup. So, and by the time I was 9 years old, I was doing with my brothers, and they were developing on instruments. They got really good, better than me. And I was like, man, I could catch up with them. So talent-wise. So we formed that band, and we were like the Moffett brothers. And then we joined with another neighborhood band of brothers called, they called themselves the Cavaliers. So at 9 years old, we were doing talent shows and block parties and yard parties where what they call dinner parties. Pay $1, you get a dinner plate and you listen to the band. And my neighborhood, oftentimes we'd have it at my mother's house. We had a big backyard and have a lot of people in the neighborhood and buying plates of dinner and out there with tables and dining. And we were the band, entertainment. 9 years old and talent shows, as I mentioned. And then at 10 years old, we got an offer to play a nightclub. One nightclub down. It's called the Desert Sands.
At 10.
I'm 10 years old. Yeah, at 10 years old. So they talked the owner of the club because he heard the band audition, and he said, "Man, I want you guys in our club." And he knew I was underage, and they said we won't do it without Jonathan. So he broke the rules, and he said, as long as they don't see him, police don't see him going in the club, I get in trouble. So they snuck me around the alley through the back door with my little drum kit. Drums were bigger than me. And I played the gig until like 1:32 in the morning, and then had to get up for school 5:30, 6 in the morning. And it's crazy. So, but it was an interesting life, fascinating life. And I'd play and we'd be jamming. And band sounded really good for our ages. And then my brothers and them was kind of slick. So what they would do, they want to get the girls' phone numbers and stuff. They give me, "Jonathan, take a solo 3 times in the show. Come on, man." I started playing. I've been playing my solo, and I run out of stuff to do. And I say, "Yo, come back. I don't know what else to do." And they'd be laughing at me, and they get girl numbers and stuff. So I got my experience soloing because I was stuck being the scapegoat while they get girl phone numbers. So I learned how to solo.
That's hysterical. That's
it's crazy. But, and then at the end of the gig, we unload we tear things down, and get loaded in the car. And I was so young, I was lay across my brother's lap, and they would say, "Little man," they thought I was sleeping. They'll say, "Little man tore it up tonight. He tore it up. You heard that? You heard that solo?" I'm listening. I'm playing with my eyes closed, looking out, peeping out my eyes. And I would listen to all the compliments. They would compliment me. So that encouraged me a lot to get even better, like they were. And so that all leads to me saying that I was making money at music at 10 years old. And I've been doing it since then. Until now, I'm still making music. I'm still making my living money. I'm still enjoying it, just like the 10-year-old boy who started in the nightclub, breaking the law, sneaking.
Well, that's a dream come true.
It's a brilliant dream come true, and I work with more artists than I've ever imagined. I thought I would be famous with one artist, and you saw my resume. I always tell people that. People say, who's your manager? You got all this stuff, these credits to your resume. And I said, I don't have a physical manager, man. And they said, you got a great agent. I said, no, I don't have a person for an agent. I said, but I have the best manager and agent anyone can ever have.
Yourself, right?
No, better than that. They said, how did your resume read like this if you don't have a manager agent? I said, I do have an agent and a manager, and it's the best one you could ever have. And they said, who is that? I said, God is my manager.
Yes.
Jesus Christ is my agent. Can you do better than that? That's why my resume reads like, because I didn't chase after these gigs. Their phone would ring the right way. I always say the right way because it'd be somebody want me, and I get the gig, right. Because they heard me play before, and I always do my 150% every time I mount my drums, and they recognize that spirit and that soul and that concentration, that power. And it got around, people would just call. But I would say that a lot of them were kind of magical how they happened, times, how they came about. And it would come from artists unlikely. Didn't think I was going to work with Elton John. Come on now. Then he told me, I've been following your career for years. And I'm like, Elton John, come on, you follow my career? And I mean, you just don't know. And then Cameo, I was a big fan of Cameo, but the drummer is Larry Blackman. Come on, he's incredible, my hero. So I said, I love this band. I said, I want to play with them, but oh man, the drummer is the leader of the band. There's no way. 2 weeks later, the phone rings. Larry Blackman, hey Johnny, how you doing? Deep voice, Johnny, I want you to play with us. I saw you with the Jackson Brothers in Atlanta at the Omni. I want you to be. How'd you like to be Cameo's drummer? I said, you're the drummer. Come on. And he said, no, Johnny, I'm up front now. I need a good drummer. I said, I want you to play with us. Now, I just 2 weeks before listening to their new single on the radio, sitting in my car blasting "Be Yourself."
Right.
Dreaming, man, I would like to play this kind of funk with, I love this kind of music. And I said, but it's impossible. The drummer is the leader of the band.
Right, never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never happened. The phone rings the right way. And it's Larry Blackman telling me, I'm not playing no more. I'm leading and singing up front. And I want you, Jonathan, to be my drummer. A miracle. God is my manager. You got to remember that. Jesus is my patron.
Well, I was going to ask you the use of the word miracle, because you also, in reading up on you, even though I've known you for years, I still was doing a little background checking and some research to prepare for our conversation. And you use the word miracle in the way your touring career started, really. And back in 1979, you started playing with the Jackson 5, which I want to talk about. And that led to having an audition with Madonna as well. And again, you use the word miracle for how those things happen. So tell me, how did you go from playing in clubs since you were 10 years old and things like that? Like, when did you move to LA? Did you move with the gig, or did you just move out here with hope and a dream and a drum kit?
I moved out here with a pocket full of hopes and dreams, and my heart full of faith that God would come through and something would happen for me, because I believed in myself. When playing in the clubs, I become one of the top drummers in New Orleans. And it goes beyond that. I knew that New Orleans wasn't it what I saw on TV, like, all of the shows and the concerts and Soul Train, people playing all the American Music Awards. That wasn't in New Orleans. I said, if it's not here, I need to go where it is, put myself in the middle of it, give myself a good opportunity to become that, the heroes that I'm seeing on TV.
Right.
I have to put myself in the middle of the machine. The machine of music was here in LA or in New York. And New York is too cold for me. I don't like cold weather.
That's why I decided on LA over New York as well.
And I don't like shoveling snow.
That's right.
That's too much work, because you shovel it, then it's clean and clear. Oh, good, I can get out. And then by the time you get ready to come home, it's snowed again, and you can't get your driveway in your garage because you got to shovel it again the same day. So I said, no, forget that. I'm going to LA where the palm trees and sunshine are and Hollywood is. So I made my decision. I loaded up my car. I drove 3,200 something miles on a chance, and I was scared to come because my friend who lived here, who was in the band from New Orleans, stayed here after the band. It's interesting. The band we all drove like 6 cars driving to Los Angeles in '78, and we tried to get a record deal, and we had people interested in it, liked us, but then the band started infighting, and then we made a decision, because our parents were worried about us, saying, if one of us or more than one of us wants to come back home to New Orleans, we all go back. That was our deal with our parents. So most of us, this one guy stayed. But so in '78, I gave my chance at making it big with the band. And the Money Band is the name of the band. It was an incredible, funky band. Really incredible band. So anyway, they've got to fighting, and we broke up in the band. We went back home in '78. But that guy who stayed here, Alfred Gillard, I always be grateful to him. He had some tapes of the Money Band. He played it for some people like Jermaine Jackson and other people. And they were like, "Who's that drummer?" And that was in '79. I got a call, and that summer, and Alfred said that Jermaine was interested in bringing me out so I can talk to him about a project. And I was like, wow. He said he loved your drumming, man. He wants you to be with him, and he's in his band on a project. And that was like the summer of '79. I'm, on my own, I'm scared to go, like, wow, what am I gonna do? So don't make it, I'll be on the streets and stuff like that. So I said, all right, I'll go. Then I got to thinking about it and said, man, I'm not coming out there by myself. And he said, no, you can stay with me. And
Jermaine did, or your friend?
My friend said, you can stay with me. They live with me until things happen, and then we can start a band out here ourselves. Some new people. I said, okay. So that from July, I'm gonna tell you, quite funny. From July through December, I'm saying every week or so, every month, I'm saying, I'm going to Hollywood, I'm going out there, and then I get to thinking too much, and I say, I'm not going to Hollywood by myself. I'll be stuck out there by myself. But if we don't make it, I'll be on the streets. And my dad always was worried about that. So he said, I don't know if you should go, son. You always got a home here. Stay here and be safe. But I know you're safe. And I said, Dad, but I feel this for me. And he lectured me, yeah, but what if something happened to you? Be worried. So I said, I had to make a decision. From July that year, when I talked to Alfred the first time, he made the offer from July to December, middle of December, I'm back and forth. I'm going. And, no, I'm not going, man. That's crazy. I'm not going to be stuck. Yeah, I'm going. The next week or two, I'm going. No, I'm not going. Finally, in December, I'm thinking about it hard. I said, you know what? And I don't know, the notion just came to me. Maybe God put the notion in my mind and said, if you don't go, you will never make it. You got to give yourself the opportunity. Right. You got to go. You can wind up being here in New Orleans, not going, and become an old man in a rocking chair, rocking on your porch. Man, I wonder what would have happened if I just went to have faith and went to Los Angeles, so I could be a successful drummer, and big time. That picture and image in a rocking chair, an old triple up man, never making it and having done something I didn't want to do, another job. Right. I didn't want to do it, giving away my drumming career and all the work I put in. That scared me.
Yeah, I would imagine. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, it's almost like
a little motivator for you to be courageous.
It was like I had that one voice on it saying, you should not go, you're going to be in trouble. The other voice saying, no, go, it's going to be okay, you're going to make it, it'll be great. No, I don't know, but I don't trust him, he's lying to you. So it was like that, almost back and forth. Finally, I listened to this voice that said, look, you have faith in God. Trust God. I said, then it came, and the voice told me this important thing. Give it 6 months, and if you don't make it, you can always come back home. Always try. Home will be here. You can always go back home. That comfort, sense of comfort, knowing that, wait a minute, I have that option. I can go back home before I'm on the streets.
Right.
And so I said, I'm going. And at that point on, I was on my mind to go.
That's so wonderful, Jonathan, because I gave myself a year. Like I sort of made, this voice went off in my head as well. And I just thought, even if you don't like it, even if there are struggles, don't make a decision for the first year. Just give it a year.
Yeah.
Give it your all. Give it a year, then decide what's next.
Then you walked out a very all-important thing that a lot of people don't scared to do. All my incredibly talented friends are in New Orleans and they didn't make it. They wound up getting a regular job. They still incredible musicians.
Absolutely.
But they gave that gift away. And they're doing it on the side, but they could have been big stars and stuff. But you did what you just said. You did what I did. I walked out on a limb and a branch of faith. And my faith said, this branch will not break if you have faith in me. God said, you have faith in me. And it's like when the disciple walked on the water, and Jesus said, you can walk on the water. He didn't believe it. He got scared, but then he walked on the water. It was like that. I took that walk on that branch of faith. I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to give it a chance. And I did. And the voice just telling me, take the chance, go, you understand. Trust me. And I felt that sense of somebody saying, trust me. It's going to be okay. And I went out. I came out to Los Angeles, drove all that time away. And a month and a half, I was with the Jacksons. Not no year, not 6 months.
Super huge world tour.
Yes.
The Jacksons.
Yeah, the Destiny tour. Not 6 months, not a year. That voice of faith that instilled that strong faith, man. And I had strong faith. As you can tell, I'm very, very spiritual. And I believe in God and Christ, and I'm very religious. And so I trusted in that because I felt it was coming from a good place, from my spirit. And I came out, he said, trust me, you will see. That was other words that I heard in my head. I don't know why. He kept saying, you will see, trust, take the chance, you will see. I took the chance. A month and a half later, I found about, this window, I'm going to tell you, you got some time?
Yes.
You got some time?
Yeah.
Let me blow your mind. Okay, just hit me. I not only came out here in a month and a half like I was the Jackson Brothers, but this is how it happened. Y'all getting a kind of prelude to my book.
Great.
I was going to the airport, sent by my friend I was staying with, to pick up a bass player, a friend of ours from New Orleans, was coming out to be in a band we were creating. I'm not familiar with all the freeways and all the streets are there. So he gave me instructions, go down the 405 freeway. Where I was living in Woodland Hills, those of you who live here knows, and down to 101. And he gave me how to get there, but he didn't put it on in writing. So I remember I went and got to the airport. This is God's work. It's only God's work. It's a miracle, true miracle. I got chills when I was telling story. I got on there and I picked my friend up. We laughing and talking. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. And I'm driving back. I said, now we got to get back to AJ's house. And I said, okay, we talking. We reminiscing the times. We had the band together. So we driving down the freeway, going back north on the 405 freeway, but not paying attention. I was in the wrong lane. Now I had to get back to Woodland Hills. I was supposed to go all the way down the 405 to the 101. But not paying attention and laughing at stories and stuff, I was in the wrong lane and I switched up some kind of way onto the 10th freeway. And I'm driving on the 10th freeway and I said, he's laughing, talking. I said, wait a minute, Lawrence. I don't recognize nothing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where we're going. He said, no, what? I said, I'm lost. So I'm driving. I don't know nothing about any rest of Los Angeles except for that valley over there by Encino and Woodland Hills, Tarzana. I said, what are we going to do? And I couldn't remember AJ's number to call him. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're driving toward downtown. And now remember that where I'm at. The backtrack, there's a friend of mine, very good friend of mine. It was in bands, and the one's named James McField. James McField, he was a musical director for the Jackson Brothers from 75 until I got with him afterwards. So he used to come to town with the Jacksons and play at the Municipal Auditorium, concerts, and give me tickets. I could watch my friend get inspired playing with the Jacksons. He was a musical director. But he said, he used to come to my mother's house and said, Sugarfoot, you need to come out to LA. You will make it big out there. You great, man. You need to come out here. He said, here's my number and here's my address. Look me up if you come on out. Now, mind you, he told me that like 2 years before. Now, mind you, I drove out there, but I forgot the paper at home. All I remember was Normandy Avenue, the street name. I didn't know what house. You know, that goes for like miles,
big street.
40 miles, 30, 40 miles.
Sure.
And just house numbers. So all I know is Normandy Avenue. Flash back to where I left off is I'm driving down the wrong freeway. And I had been driving around the valley looking for Normandy Avenue in Canoga Park, Woodland Hills, and Encino, Sherman Oaks, and nobody knew where Normandy Avenue was. So I'm driving down the freeway lost. I'm laughing, and he's my friend punched my arm. Man, you got us lost. What are we gonna do? And I'm laughing. I'm in the left lane, far left lane, and we laughing and talking. I look up. There's a sign that says Normandy Avenue. I've been driving for a month and a half in the valley, the wrong place, looking for Normandy Avenue. It's over here. I said, Normandy Avenue. Normandy Avenue. Turned the wheel, and I got off. I cut across 4 lanes, like an L shape. I didn't go like this. I cut like L shape.
You just cut.
And I swear, from the left lane, now they could cars zooming in the lanes I cut across and killed us. Yeah. But my mind was so excited to find Normandy Avenue finally. I didn't. Not a notion of that came in mind until I got to the exit. And he said, man, you could have got us kill you, and it would have hit me on my side. So we laughing, talking. Now we get to the foot of the ramp by the stoplight. This is where the miracle comes in. That was a miracle in itself. Yeah. I finally found Normandy Avenue. That's the miracle leading up to the miracle. So we get to the stoplight, first car, and I'm in the left lane of the exit. And I say, man, Normandy Avenue looks like it runs a long way. All I know is the street. I don't know its address. And I said, man, which way do you think I should turn? And I said, I think I'm going to turn left. I said, what do you think, Lawrence? What do you think? I don't know which way to go. He said, I don't know, turn right. Turn right just as good as any. It's like just as good as any. So I said, okay. So I cut across the right lane and turned right. And we talking, how we going to get home? And I had this old Pontiac and with the T-tops. And so it was open. And I was talking and said, man, what we going to do? We stopped at the light, first light, about 100 or so feet up front. We stopped there, we laughing. What we gonna do? How we gonna get home? I said, I don't know. And then he jumps out because he knows James too. Jumps up in the seat and said, wait a minute, there's James on the payphone right there.
You kidding me?
There's James on the payphone right there. I said, no. I looked at this guy with a big afro, big old mustache. I said, it's not James. Because when I remember last, he didn't have a giant afro. He said, yes, it is. What's this? He stood up in the T-top and says, hey, James McField. That afro went around like that. And he said, Sugarfoot? And it was James. Of all the blocks of the 40 miles or so Normandy runs, of all the times of day.
Miracle.
I could have been there 2 minutes after he got off the phone, and as soon as he got off the phone, walked to his house, and walked to his house, I'd have been turning left or right.
Right.
And I would never know. Of all the times of the day, I could have got there 2 minutes before he went to the phone and turned left, and he would have been coming out like this, missed each other.
Right.
The timing of God is very important. He had me at the exact time he put James on that payphone to complete his plan to get me with the Jacksons. James was on that payphone the exact time I needed him to be on that payphone. And he said, meet me in the middle of the block. And so he walked in the middle of the block. I drove and turned around, parked in front of his pad. And I went in there and he started relating exciting story. Man, we just got back from Trinidad. We went to Europe. We got back from Europe and all these exciting stories of travel and playing big giant concerts. He said, Trinidad, we had a big concert on the beaches, right on the beaches, by the water. And I said, oh man, it's incredible, beyond my dreams. Right. So he said, yeah, got me built up with fever. And I got so excited. I said, wait, James. I know Johnny Jackson is their cousin, who was the original Jackson drummer, the Jackson 5 drummer. But I said, I know that's their cousin. They probably never get rid of it. But if anything happens and stuff, they need a drummer, just tell them about me, the guy you've been telling them about.
Right, you spoke up.
Yes, I did.
You claimed it, yeah.
I did. I said, because James used to always tell me, I tell the brothers about you all the time. And he said, I've been telling them, I'm going to get you out here. But then at that time, they had just fired Johnny, And they were auditioning drummers for 2 weeks. So I said, just tell them that the guy you've been talking about is in town. All I want is a chance. And he said, oh, shit, but I forgot. Oh, man, guess what? I said, what? He said, they fired Johnny. Auditioning drummers right now, though. If you tell me that's not God's perfect timing, for me to get lost, God probably said, this knucklehead drive around the valley for Normandy Avenue. Yeah, Normandy not in. Let me help him it got me lost to get found by the industry. I got lost to be found by the industry. So he guided me to Normandy Avenue. Probably tapped me on my shoulders. I'm driving and said, hey, food, right there. So I got off the freeway and James is on all these things lined up. James on the paid for. We get in this house and he tells me they just fired the drummer and they auditioned the drummer right now. Think of the chain of events. I said, whoa, I can't believe it. He said, but one thing. I said, what? He said, they've been auditioning drummers for 2 weeks and today is the last day. I said, oh, no. He said,
I read that. Yeah, that the audition was essentially over.
It was over. And so he said, the guy coming in this night, that's the last one. I said, oh, man, please tell him that I'm in town. Your friend you've been talking about is in town. I just want a chance. Please just give a chance. And he said, okay, I'll talk to them when I get to audition. I said, do they have anybody they like? He said, they got one guy they kind of like, but they're not sold. That's why they still audition. So I felt I had a chance. So he went there that night. He said, I'll call you tonight when I talk to them after you leave. So I'll call them up and see if I can extend it today. He talked to them that night, and that same night, he called me up and said, by 11:30 at night, something 11:45, said, Sugarfoot, I talked to them and they said, be at mother's house at 3:00 tomorrow afternoon. They extended it. They're going to give you a chance. And that started everything. I went in. And of course, everybody knows Jackson 5 song. We're big fans.
Sure.
Most alive today is Jackson 5 fans.
Yeah.
Played songs for them. Michael, I didn't see Michael, but they told me after later. I found this years later. In their studio at Havenhurst, there's a window up there, a secret room. I didn't know this. His cousin said Michael's probably up in that room looking down upon you and listening to you, watching you while the brothers Jackie, Marlon, Tito, and Randy was auditioning you. And then they wound up liking me. So I got the job. And they say, Joseph's waiting in the yard for you to talk to you about the business.
To handle the business. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is a miracle. It's a true miracle. Just like that. I got lost one day and got found. The next day I auditioned, I was with the Jackson Brothers, a major recording artist, which started everything. And
did you, since you're mentioning that you talked to Joe, to Pop, outside in the garden, did you feel comfortable with representing yourself in the negotiation?
I was nervous. Because, I played in club in New Orleans. I paid hardly no money.
Sure.
And I played, the biggest thing there was playing on Bourbon Street. Right. And that's where the bigger money. And I wound up being in the band that played on Bourbon Street for a whole year. And we were like doing $350 for the week.
Right.
So, that was a whole week,
Yeah.
So, I was, I knew it was a going to be a big step
Yeah,
up.
it's going to be a bump. Yeah, absolutely.
So I talked to him, and he said what they're doing. This is it. But at the time, I wasn't going to turn it down.
Of course not.
So I said, yeah, I love to play with him. He was excited. He said, let me tell you something, Sugarfoot. He said like this: my sons love you. They love you. They're going crazy in there over there. I don't know. I knew they like, but he said they want you to be their drummer, and I want you to be their drummer. You be good for my boys. He always called my boys. You be good. You be good for them. So I said yes, and so I was hired as the Jackson's drummer, and I had 3 days to learn my first professional show ever.
Right.
Choose everything. 3 days. And let me go back. I don't read music. Unfortunately didn't learn to read music.
Right, which was one of the things I was going to bring up and talk to you, because you haven't let that hold you back. As a matter of fact, we did a late night talk show together for a year, where you came in and you had said, I'm not really a reader, but I promise I'm going to learn your music. And you never let me down. You learned my entire catalog of original music. When I would write something new, you would participate in learning it with the band, make your own notes. But also, every week we backed up, every show we backed up a superstar in every genre. And you always nailed it.
I just, by my shortcoming on reading, you have to hone in and really perfect your memory. Not only memory only here, but there's such thing as spiritual memory.
What do you mean?
Spiritual memory is as you're learning something and you come to try to grasp it and remember it, 8 bars, 16 bars, whatever, these licks, these hits, whatever. Not only I've learned a way of reading my soul, reading my spirit, because as I'm learning it, I'm writing it into my spirit. I'm like dictating it into my spirit, my mind.
Inscribing it into your heart.
Here and here is being written down. And not by words and numbers and stuff. I'm feeling bars, and I know what 4 bars feel like. Of course, I know what 2 bars feel like, but I know the space of 4 bars spiritually, how it feels as a segment. I capture that. As 8 bars, I have a reference in my soul. I can feel. I'm not counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1 bar, 2 bar. I'm feeling the space of 8 bars. When the first bar starts. And that last bar, the last note of the last bar, my soul say, okay, that's 8 bars. It knows that. Here comes the 8. This is the 8th bar. And then if it's a 16 bar change, I can write that in my soul, my spirit, and not counting 1, 2, 3, 4. I can know the space, feeling of time that goes by for 16 bars. 16 bars. 32 bars is the same. I've developed the inefficiency of learning how to listen with my soul.
And I'll vouch for you on this, for any musicians who are listening right now. It's not just symmetrical 4 bars, 2 bars, 8 bars, 16, 32. You're perfectly fine with a 9-bar phrase or a 10-bar phrase, because I've thrown those at you.
Yes, yeah.
And you write that into your soul equally.
There's a reference of spiritual space of time for 9 bars, for 12 bars. You feel it, and I capture, like I usually say, it captures like a Nikon photograph. My soul, when I goes by and get that as well, and it has that reference of photograph, like a spiritual photographic memory of what it felt like and what it's supposed to be. I got a picture of that in my soul, heart and spirit. And as I'm playing, I'm doing those other stuff. I'm feeling it. My soul remembers. Remember, okay, here's that last bar. They go to the change. You got to do this pickup here, and I remember what the pickup is leading into the next section. And it's a way of me developing a system naturally of reading. I'm reading not a piece of paper. I'm reading my soul, reading my spirit. I'm reading off my soul and my spirit. And it's just a technique that it's mental knowledge, but it's also spiritual knowledge has taught me how to do. And I've learned to compensate for not being educated on reading, because I had nobody in my neighborhood to teach me to read. And I just never, and I was so having fun learning things off the record from memory, learning how to do it. Not only the song, but the tempos and all those kind of things. And if it's, back then there was no click track, so all the drummers sped up in the middle of the song, and at the end of the song, you erased it, passed it in the beginning. But you also, when you're tracking, the same thing, it helped me for the click. By following that in the 60s records and 70s records, being that you read where you are and you remember spiritually, like a chart, where speed picks up, where it speeds up, right? Where it starts to drag a little, where it starts to relax. I got to relax right here. The drummer relaxed on the record. I got to do it just like him.
Right,
and
for the authenticity.
Exactly, and
Right.
the reality of it, and it created the human element of the song. Yeah, well, so it wasn't perfect to click,
Yeah.
but we loved it. It was hit records in our minds and hearts.
Right.
We went out and bought it. We didn't care that it wasn't perfect timing. But that guy played his butt off, and it was amazing. I felt it. And so, but I learned how to, when learning those things with that, putting that needle back, running to my drum set, I learned how to capture all those other nuanced elements.
The nuance, yeah, the subtlety, the intention.
Yeah, exactly. The attitude.
Emotion, the heart, the humanity, right?
Yeah, the attitude and the swing.
Mm-hmm.
The finesse the guy played with, a certain finesse. Everybody got their own finesse.
Right.
You have to become that person. So that it's not just a beat. You're not that person.
Mm-hmm.
It's that person's, all the elements we just named of the person's character. He etched himself into that record by executing. He's etched into that record and that song. And I have to become all of those elements, not the time, any tempo, but all the finesse, the swing, the attack, the power, all of those are elements that make it him that you replicate. It becomes just like the record.
One of the things that's fascinating about what you're saying to me right now is not only are you masterful at that, of really understanding the nuance of a groove and pocket and the organic ebb and flow of the tempo, but you are also known and have this beautiful, brilliant reputation worldwide of really laying down the pocket without speeding up or slowing down, when that's what's called for. Where did you practice a lot with a metronome as well, or where did you get your ferocious sense of time? Because I could set a clock to you the times that we played together. I know it's always going to be right where it's supposed to be, and that's where it's going to stay if that's what our intention is.
That comes from what I just explained. What am I doing when I'm learning this track, a song, about hot songs from the 70s or something? And the guy, like I said, the guy's speeding up on it. My heroes.
Right.
But I didn't care. I just wanted to be him. I want to be just like him. I want to be him. I listened to all those elements I just explained. And when he sped up, I sped up while I'm shading and practicing, learning him. I'm learning him. So guess what you're doing? You're learning to work with a click track. Mm-hmm. He's the click track. And the click track, click tracks are perfect. But this click track, this person, whoever the name is, I'm not going to say names and stuff. That click track moves.
Right.
So I have to move. And when I'm trying to play like the record, with the record, I have to move when he moves, just like as if I was making the session, recording it. So that gives you the sense of, like I said, perfect timing. And they may not be perfect timing, like regimented timing, but my perfect timing is matching him, reading the song. I'm learning perfect timing. It's just that 3-4 minute songs back in the days, it moves around during the song, but that's my click track. And when it moves, I'm changing, adjusting the click. Right. He is the click, the song is the click. That gives you focus, concentration, the development of focus, concentration, how to do what I do. And because I listen so strongly, intently, particularly, and I've become and have trained myself to be super sensitized to that, following them, that click track of that or the click track of a click track. I apply the same elements that focuses on that click track. I gotta be with it,
right? And
nothing else in the world matters. I don't care what matters, what bills you got. I don't care who's at the party. I don't care who's going to do Disneyland or all those kind of things or whatever you got to do. Nothing matters in those. If the song is 4 minutes, I am there every bit of the 4 minutes. The sole focus of concentration, and my first concentration, if I'm working with a click track, is the click track. And then I learn how to still emote and express for the feeling and the swing and the sway along with the click, which a lot of people have trouble with. A lot of them feel when they start to concentrate on the click track or reading the chart. But I learned how to still loosen up and be able to play with a flow and the ebb and attitude and swing around the click track. But on my mind, my innermost focus is hearing that I tell people I can see the click track when they go like that. Tick, tick. I have a picture in my mind. I'm focused pictures. There's a picture in my mind of a click track or click, click, click. Yeah. No, but subconsciously.
Yeah.
I'm subconscious to read that and know where that click. I am with that click as one. Am I up in here and here? There's two. I should say, two sources of memory we have, and two mentalities we have, and we got to learn to master both of them. And it's not inside your head, the brain. It's that second most important memory is the spiritual memory.
Right.
It serves just as much or more so than the mental memory, because the spiritual memory is a different form of mental memory. If you learn how to train yourself to focus on it, how to read it, how to project it, how to master it, how to control. And one of the things, and the other thing is that helps me with that, it makes me play the way I do like that. It's a very, very important thing that nobody talks about. And drummers don't talk about, most people don't talk about. You know what that is?
No.
Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You have to discipline yourself to be with that click track.
Right.
You have to discipline yourself not to let nothing else distract you. Even if there's no click track, you are the click track.
Right.
You have to discipline yourself to become the electronic click track and let nothing distract you and not to deviate. So I tell people one of the most important lessons in music and drumming and music and all the creative things in life, but it serves all of your life, everything in your life. No, one of the most important things you can learn in your life is discipline. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? Discipline is power.
Right.
You learn to control yourself, not to do what an urge tells you to do. Like with Michael, playing with Michael, I start doing all the fancy stuff like a lot of the young drummers do now, all the rolls and complex stuff. I'll be on the first plane going home.
Right.
And man, this guy, now he's going to make my money. The guy who's disciplined going to make my money. So I know how to control my spirit and soul. Even though I got chops and all that stuff, it's not necessary for Billie Jean.
Right.
It's not necessary.
But that discipline also, and that level of like almost like a martial arts kind of a focus to me is how I see that from my martial arts training, allows you to also be present. Yeah. To catch the magic or and the subtlety and what's happening at the very moment, which might be different every night. And that's one of the things that I know that Michael Jackson loved about your drumming is you would catch his choreography. Mm-hmm. You know, you even develop techniques, you know, you're over the head, behind the head choking of cymbals and you know, that so that you could keep an eye on him the whole time. You know, to hit a crash behind you, choke, and then just without ever losing your primary job, which was to just lay it down and serve the music. Really, is what the job is, to serve the song, to serve the artist, and in the moment. But you know, it doesn't mean that you didn't include that. You don't include that in your playing. It actually makes room for that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I consider myself, and drummers, not every drummer feels this way, but I consider myself, and you being in TV and all movies, I'm the Foley man. Right. I'm the Foley man. Now, I don't know, a lot of you listeners out there may not know what that means. Tell them what the Foley man is.
It's basically the person that helps with all the sound effects. If somebody, you know, cuts a piece of meat in a movie or bites into an apple, there's actually an actor that's biting into an apple so that they can record the sound, the really creating the audio for all of the movement and emotional things that happen. Wind rustling, or you're catching all of it.
Walking through the forest and you just crunch a leaf. They bring leaves into the studio, and a guy walks on the leaf that's mic'd up, and you can hear the crunching of the leaves. Yeah, I'm the leaf man. I'm the Foley man. The meat slicer. I'm all that stuff. You know, I'm all of that stuff to Michael and to Madonna. Everybody.
Right.
You know, I love the challenge of that without losing the beat, though.
Right.
I can't affect the beat. So I've created my own method of to incorporate both the focus of time and power. Authority is another thing I focus on, to have playing with authority and power, and confidence and precision, but also being creative with those elements that makes the movements of the artist stand out, which makes him or her look greater and more powerful. So I'm the Foley man that love the challenge of doing that. Now, none of them tell me to do it. It's something I take up on myself as a responsibility to make my artists, when I'm working with them, look great and his movements or his or her movements have an effect. When they do something, you hear something. Combination. That's what the art of the movie making is. The artist, the actor does something. You hear something that's incorporated like you would hear naturally if you was observing them in the scene.
Right.
So I have to come up with the right combination of elements of my kit to hit in combination to make it more like the dynamic of the visual that he or she is presenting. So I love doing that. I create all that stuff myself, and none of them asked me to do it. I just said, I feel this is the drummer's responsibility.
Right.
This drummer's responsibility. So I it's extra work. It is extra work. But
well,
I put it.
I think that might answer one of the questions that I had for you, which is you don't identify yourself or call yourself a drummer. You call yourself a drum artist.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I'm a drum artist. Beyond drumming, and I carry myself in such a way, and I built my career.
Right.
I presented myself, and I designed my career on a higher stature than just a backup drummer for the sake of being a drummer for the band. No, you're hiring a drum artist because I cover all of those elements that I was just explained, and all my Foley work and all that kind of thing, the visual work and my stick spins, all the stuff like that. Because people pay at a concert not just to hear you, they want to see something exciting.
Right. Yeah.
So from the drummer standpoint, I'm contributing to the show by adding all those elements, catching the cymbals in different ways, being martial. And you mentioned martial arts. That's where it comes from. I love martial arts. I've studied martial arts. I haven't studied physically. Nobody taught me. I was scared to get hurt and can't play drums.
Right.
So I always wanted to learn so bad because I love it. There's an art to it. That's why they call it martial arts.
Right.
There's an art to it. But more than that, the most, not just, all the chopping and kicking, all that stuff, physical fighting, stuff like that, violence part. I mean, there's just, if you can defend yourself, that's great, but that's not why I like it because of the mental, emotional, physical control. Discipline.
Back to what you had mentioned earlier, the discipline.
That's what got me into it. I took my desire for martial arts, and that element of it, and I applied it to my drumming because Bruce Lee was my favorite. I loved. You could see the degree of study of discipline he has to get him to that level, unmatched level. And I admired that a human being can have that kind of mental and emotional control and discipline. That showed you discipline is a power.
Right.
That was Bruce's power. He had it to the degree that he can do things. He had it to the multitude, the magnitude, the degree he could do things nobody else could do. And that shows a deeper sense of concentration and self-control and will and creative mind thinking, because he can do things other art and martial artists didn't imagine yet.
Right.
And he has physical control to mesmerize you, even other top artists, martial artists. Whoa, where do you get that from? Because he was a deep spiritual person. His depth of spiritual, sorry about that other phone.
It's okay.
His depth of spirituality ran deeper than most other human beings.
Let me ask you a question. I want to circle back to something that you had mentioned, which is designing and creating your own image in the way that you wanted to be perceived in the world. Yes. Not just as a drummer. And we're not just talking about music now. We're talking about visual. You've always been into fashion as long as I've known you, even before I knew you. That was something that you always looked like you cared. Not just that it was important to you, that presentation was important to you. And it always felt like it was beyond having a sense of swagger or style, which you do have both. But you've also created, you've handled your own public relations strategy, not just your image, but getting it out there. You being broader, in designing very hands-on, literally, pencil and paper, and then hands-on designing every single drum kit and hardware configuration and colors, and the idea of creating drums as a piece of sculpture on stage. Right. Because as you have said to me before, it takes up a lot of real estate on stage. It's a large area drum, so you didn't want to waste the opportunity, I suppose, or you understood the value and the responsibility of doing something that looked great. But You know, something that you said to me, we were getting ready to go out on the road with Wilson Phillips when we were in that band together, and you had basically said to me, I was asking you about just getting your tips on what to bring and packing and, you know, stage clothes and off stage clothes, and I don't know if you remember this, but you just said it's really important to just have something that looks really sharp when you're just rolling out of the bus at 5 a.m, you know, pulling up into a hotel or you know, pulling up at 2 in the afternoon to go in the back parking lot of a sound check, you know, and you can't just roll off the bus looking crazy because you not only are representing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you never know which paparazzi or camera or anybody's going to be there, but you're also representing the artist. Every time you are walking from the bus or the hotel or the lobby to the whatever, to the van, you know, you're being viewed. And do you remember that conversation? Because it really stuck with me.
I remember that. First of all, I learned my sense of fashion style, or how should I move beyond that, of how to carry oneself in public, from my father.
I was going to ask you where you got that from. Yes.
Yeah, every single day I can remember in life, my dad had a white crisp shirt on, and he had nice, real good dress pants. Always everyday dress.
Right.
Like going to church, and he had a tie with a nice cut. I remember the tie clip had like a spur on it, like a cowboy boot spur on it,
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff. And it went across there, and the tie, whatever tie he wore, whatever color, he had that on. He had a watch chain, pocket watch chain. He had a vest on over the shirt with the pocket watch in there, and he had what we used to call a sky piece. That's the hat. He had the sky like Michael Fedora.
Oh, yeah, lid, a hat, right.
Sky piece on. It's got a sky piece on. My dad, my friends used to say, boy, I see your dad. He's the sharpest man in town. Every day he has a sky piece on, man. He got his suit on. He's got his shirt. He looks clean. And and people respect him everywhere he goes.
Right.
And I learned that from my father, because he said people will respect you. Maybe you may walk past somebody once in your life. Maybe you run into them again. But you want them to have the best impression of you, even at one time.
Right.
Now, if you somebody you walk past, you have a great impression, that guy looks sharp. Then later in life, this guy may own a grocery store, fashion store, or some kind of business. And he said, he meets you again. He said, man, when I saw you last time, you really showed me a lot of character and stuff like that. You look like a real dignified person. I got a job. You want this job? I want to offer it to you because I respect you.
Right.
How you carry yourself. How you carry
You get treated
yourself.
with respect when you pull up.
My dad instilled that to me and my brothers. Stuck with me
Right.
all the time. But I was always the kind of kid that wanted to please my father and my mother and make them feel good about the son that they raised, and make them love me more because I listened to them and because I'm making them proud, regardless of the drums.
Right.
I carry myself in a proud way for the Moffett name and for the family, which my dad took a lot of dignity in, and stuff. And he's very, very, how should I say, very, very strong on a person's image and representation to the world and how you represent the family. But I respected that in him because I respected him, how he carried himself. I wanted to become that. I wanted to become him. So he grew me that way. Now, my brother then got off the roll off the wagon. They kind of went the regular casual. I felt and I watched my father get respect everywhere he went in town. I loved that. People gave him high regard and comment and compliments, and I wanted that. And I wanted people to believe in me. And so I absorbed that, and I carried it forth until this day. And I never changed. I'm not one who follows the crowd. I have the crowd follow me. I've always felt like that. I want to be the leader, not the follower.
Right.
So I carry myself, no matter who other drummers, how they dress. I represent, first of all, the Moffett name.
That's right.
Not just about me. Everything I've accomplished and done is for my family's name, and for my mother and my father, who grew me the right way. And I absorbbed that, and I lived it. Not only absorbed, but I lived it all my whole life. But I felt that as I say, I'm a drum artist, and it makes you carry yourself. In other words, even though you may not have a record deal, you may not be in a big movie as a main star, but you're a star. If you think you're a star, you know how. Star is the level of creativity and stature and respect you have in the industry. You're a star. You're a star, Terry. People regard you so highly and respectful, and your talent should flex why they should. You earned it. You deserve to be treated like a star. You carry yourself like a star. Yes, it's true. I felt this sense of stardom, even though I never had a record deal. Even though I never been nominated for a Grammy, never been nominated for American Music Award, Soul Train Award, or Oscar. I feel the sense of star in me. And what it does is ups your game to a better and greater level of creativity, because you carry yourself and regard yourself more highly than most people do. Because I don't only do it when I'm on the drums, I do it when I'm off the drums.
Right.
And part of it is, as you know, is PR. This business success is PR as well. Image. Stars have image. You got to protect it. That's your commodity, like stock on the stock exchange. And when it rises to the top, Apple stock, Google stock, you got to protect it and keep it up to that stature if you want to be regarded highly in the industry, respected highly, and make a mark in the industry. It's a legacy, because we're all creating our legacies long after we're gone. Is what people remember of you, because you're not here anymore to enjoy it or further. It's what you leave behind.
Right.
It's your watermark in life. What we're doing is we've been leaving. Once we were gone, we left our watermark. We left our name carved in the tree. That would be there all the time. People walk by the show. I remember that guy. I know, and all the things we record in studio, all the shows we've done, we leave watermarks everywhere we go. And you want it to be at the highest, most respectable level of appreciation by people and regard, because we worked hard to gain the regard, and we practiced and committed to what we do to develop it to that higher extent and degree of what we're capable of. And it shows at the end of our days, it shows how I spent my time.
Right.
Of my life. Right. That's the most important when we leave here. Yeah. You lay on your bed and you're going to say, well, how did I spend my time? Was it good or bad? Was it worthy or unworthy? Did I waste my time? How much time did I waste? I wish I had it back. And those are that's going to be the most important time in everybody's life.
Absolutely.
When you lay there. For your last moments here and you go to I call it graduation to heaven. Right. Graduate to heaven. Those are the last moments you thought you have. And did I waste my time? How did I do myself? Did I make a mark in this world? And
right.
That's what we work towards all the time.
Did I use my gift to the fullest? And I'm not just talking about musical gift, just your heart, your integrity.
The spiritual gift and the way I carried myself. How many people did I help in my lifetime? How much respect I have from people as well as for people.
Right.
All those things in the equation of life going to matter on those last days, and I always think ahead to that, and I'm building a resume to hand to God when I lay my last day. Say, this is what I did with the time you blessed me with when I was born, God.
Right.
Can you read through it? He's already seeing it,
sure.
But I'm going to give him a report when I cross over, and I'm going to either feel bad about it, I'm going to say, I'm in trouble. I didn't do good. I know I didn't do good. I'm in trouble up in heaven. I'm in with the naughty box or something. But right. Anyway, I just said, I carry myself in a certain way because I feel the worst of myself in a higher regard and words, because my parents gave me life, but God gave me the gift of this part of life, and I dare not disgrace them. I dare not disgrace my mother and father, and prove unworthy and unrespectable to my mother and my father, especially to God. So I'm always trying to improve my life and give the best impression to people wherever I go and how I carry myself. And that's what I was explaining to you. Right. Because all the time, once you get to our level, the eyes are on you wherever you go. If they know, especially if they know where you go, but they may ask somebody, who's that guy? He looks like somebody. That happens to me all the time. They don't know who I am, but that guy looks like somebody. He must be famous. He must be famous.
Right.
You carry well.
The way you carry yourself.
Yeah. And it's a good thing. It's a positive thing.
Since we have a live VIP audience with us, before I get to my closing questions, if anybody wants to jump up on stage and ask Jonathan a question, you're welcome to right now. I see some people that have been pretty active in this conversation. So
first of all, I'd like to say thank you all for being here with me and with Terry. I really appreciate your love and your presence here. And thank you for spending the time with us. It really means a lot to us.
So in the meantime, If you want to request coming on stage, just do so, and I'll bring you on up. Let me ask you before I get to my sort of more introspective closing questions. I just wanted to ask you, and do you have a few more minutes? I know we've just gone a little bit over an hour.
Oh no, I'm looking at my battery and I'm like on my phone.
Yep.
I say, baby, I'm trying to call for some help, rescue squad to plug my phone in for me while I'm on this. So I wanted to leave here. Baby.
Yep. Let's get some help. Let's call for backup.
Baby, are you there? I need you to get the cable so I can plug my phone in. The battery's in the red and they gave me a warning. iPad is good. I think my iPad is good. So yes, good. But the phone battery is about to go for me.
Okay. Well, we want to keep that going.
Yeah. Get that long cable over there and the extension cord in there.
Thank you, baby.
Yes. She's my saving grace.
That's right.
Yes. She's been, as far as my social media, let me say this.
Yes.
I can take all the credit for my how I handle myself social media. My woman, she's my wife from my heart and spirit. We engaged for 5 years. We're going to get married very, very soon, next month or two.
Wonderful.
But Myra is my heart and soul, and she runs all my presence in social media, and she's from Silicon Valley and knows how to do it right and good and know the highest of class. So I give credit to her when you were speaking of my presence in the world. That's Myra's work in conjunction with me coordinating things, but she does the physical building and running of everything, and she's brilliant. She's genius. And everybody give Myra a hand up.
Thank you, Myra, for saving Jonathan on our show.
Yeah, and saving my president of our project. They run out of gas.
You.
So, I'm good.
Good. Okay, so before I get to my closing questions, there's two things. There's so many things I wanted to ask you because this has turned into a master class on music and also life. Even more importantly, which is more important than any of the questions that I planned on asking. But there's one thing I just want to bring up, and then here's my question if you feel like answering it. I know that you've been collecting tour memorabilia like through your whole career. You've got this magnificent collection of everything from clothing and tour books and backstage laminates and signed drum heads and photos and everything. Can you just kind of tell everybody just really briefly about that? I know that some things are available on your store as well. And then also, could you just, because touring is really grueling, which people don't know if they haven't done it, but it can also be a lot of fun. Can you share like one really memorable day off experience that you had with an artist? You don't even need to name the artist, but I know sometimes people, after a concert will just like rent a bowling alley or a theme park or something like that. So just really briefly about the tour memorabilia, and then just one quick memory, and then I'll get to my closing questions.
Well, I started from the very beginning. Destiny Tour, my first professional tour ever, collecting memorabilia, because I knew it was important to my life, and I wanted to have these things as memory, things of memory of my experiences and times with the artists, and also to have reminders of the time spent on this tour, Destiny Tour, Triumph Tour, Virgin Tour with Madonna, all these different tours. I wanted to have that record of my life, so to speak. And I would get it, and I throw it in the storage, and then I'm on the next tour, and I get that stuff and throw it in the storage, and the next tour to build up so much stuff. And shirts and some tour jackets I wore, but only I felt kind of bad wearing tour jackets. You know why? Because I've never been like a braggadocious person.
Right, it brings a lot of attention to yourself, even though they're nice jackets.
Yeah, but it's like I'm bragging. I'm with the Jacksons,
right.
That kind of thing. But I wear it every now and then, but then I wouldn't wear it because I got that feeling.
Sure.
And I put it in storage. So I got a lot of wonderful things, and I wasn't one to wear it every day. Show people I'm a Jackson member or Madonna member, like I got to brag about it or show off it. So I let it accumulate, and over the years of the 25, I think it's 25 major tours I've done in 42 years. I've got an incredible collection of stuff that's just been sitting in the dark and storage. And
Is that collection going to be part of your book with photos and stories? And
yes, it will be.
Great.
Book's going to be a coffee table book, oversized, and it's going to have all the photographs of all my memorabilia. It's going to have and everything else, collectibles and everything, pictures of my drum sets and videos as well. So I'm going to have a Blu-ray DVD in the book as well, and that you can play. You can put in your player and see the things in video time, that I've had and that I haven't collected. I had so much stuff in doubles and triples of some of that stuff. I started recently getting rid of it. Sorry about that. Somebody chimed in. Hello?
Yeah,
are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I have pictures and videos on the DVD, Blu-ray, that is going to be included in the book, so they can see everything that I have, my artwork and my practice sessions. When I practice my drums since the early days, like I have recordings of me practicing back to '76 when I practiced the Earth, Wind and Fire live album.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to have snippets and segments of those recordings. And when I would practice on a regular basis, I'd get the player and I date it. I say like today's May 18th. I use a sexy voice. Mysterious thoughts I say.
Good.
May 18th, 2021, 1 p.m. practice day. And I go practice my drums, and when I finish practice, I go to the tape player and I say, end. I do it, I really do it. And then the next day is the next day. So I got all these practice sessions of tapes that are time capsules of my life,
right?
My history, and how that period of time, if it's 2 hours, 3 hours, how I spent the time of that particular day, because I named it, I dated it, I gave it the time of day. And so I'm into doing that, have collecting moments in my life. So I have these boxes and boxes of rehearsal tapes from concerts, from rehearsals for all the artists, from concerts to all artists, practice my own, and development of my own development, personal development, stuff like that. There'd be elements on that DVD, Blu-ray of all segments and all of that stuff, So, and the pictorials, of course, and the videos from the tour travels. There's going to be a segment from statisticals, because every time I got a tour schedule book, I kept it. I got all of them, all the tours. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna have a secretary. I'm not doing it myself. I'm not writing all that stuff out. How many times I've been to, say, New York? How many times I've been to Paris, France? And I've read the tours and all of the names and stuff like that with artists. How many people that we played to? It's in the book, how capacities. I'm gonna have a statistical. How many people I played to in 42 years, 25 tours collectively all together. How many millions of that? Mm-hmm. Think how many miles I've traveled in my entire career collectively, which is going to be an astronomical number. Interesting facts. Interesting. So all those elements going to be in the book. I also was, I should say, smart enough, but more clever enough to do something most people don't do. And I think it's very, very important. I'm so glad, because she passed away 2 years ago. When I go to New Orleans on my breaks, I would record my mother. I would get my mother and chide her into telling stories about my life as a boy. Mm-hmm. As a baby and boy, and growing up in with me practicing, whatever it was. And I have recordings on many discs, many micro cassettes. Right. My mother telling stories about me and my life. So I'm going to use the best of those and have that on the Blu-ray as well. But you don't hear it from me telling the story like now. You hear my mother's actual voice.
Wow. It's so great that you did that.
A son's story, and before he became famous, and sharing stories. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me just one little quick behind-the-scenes story, something fun that happened on tour, not on stage, and then I'm going to ask you my closing questions.
Okay. Yeah. One thing that's happened for me that was fun, a lot of fun, but scary as hell. Another thing you guys don't know about me is I can't swim worth a damn. Right. I'm terrible. I'm scared to death of big bodies of water because I can't never learn to swim. And that's because my oldest brother had a friend in the neighborhood, very best friend, who was a swimming champion in the whole city, had trophies all over his house. We used to go there and look at his trophy, talk to him, hang with my older brother. Well, one day he went to the lake near our home and dove in and hit his head on a rock and died. And I saw his body come out of the water, and it traumatized me so bad. I've been afraid of big bodies of water. So I never learned to swim. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're right.
So I just things, like that. But what I'm saying is on Janet Jackson's tour, we had a break. And I think it was her birthday, and then boyfriend in Michigan, on Lake Michigan, He rented a boat, a big yacht boat. And on the boat, they had the little what they call the sea-doo things.
Yeah.
The handlebars and that driver, they would scoot things on the water. And so the band, the dancers, the background singers, we all in this boat. And they also rented a little small, like, how should I say it, restaurant-like little boat, like a dinghy, flat platform, whatever you want to call it. And it was a barbecue kind of restaurant thing that pulls up to your boat, and they cook all the food for you and stuff and provide it to you on the boat. So we're out in the middle of Lake Michigan, and I don't swim. We're in the middle of nothing. I can't swallow that much water to get back to land, and I'd be gone. So we're in the middle of nothing but water. So everybody in the band and all the dancers and Janet, and everybody's and his boyfriend, everybody's out there, and they riding these things, and I'm staying on the bus. I said, I'm not going out there.
Right.
I'm staying there. But then my great friend, I love him, Terry Centil, percussionist, he comes over to me on the boat and says, man, Moffett, you need to get out there, man. We out there, we having fun. Come on, man. I said, man, I'm not going out there. You crazy? I said, because the background singer said, we're not going out. No, it was the dancers, girls. She said, I can't swim. I know this and that. Man, I thought I was safe. I said, well, it's not just me, by myself. He comes on and said, man, even the girls are out there. They're on the things and riding about. I said, oh, man, there's my excuse. This is messed up. So he started laughing. I said, come on, Moffett is dragging me out. I said, I don't want to, man. I'm scared. So he said, we got the life vest on.
Right.
I let them talk me into it, dude. Oh, my God. I'm lucky I'm here interviewing with you.
Yeah.
Got me on this thing, man. They said, all you gotta do is this, and they showed me what to do. I'm saying I'm trying to be brave to show I wasn't the only chicken in the coop.
Right.
So I got on this thing, man, and when I took away from the boat, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they're fast. It's a jet ski. Yeah, those things are really fast.
You do a little bit, like, whoa,
yep.
whoa. And I messed around and got out there, and it was away from the boat. I was scared to death. But I don't want to look bad. My machoism, don't want to look bad. So, because the girls are scooting around, and man, I got out there, and then I realized something very, very crazy, scary. For some reason, I could only turn left, because when I try to turn right, it starts tipping over. I say, whoa. I'm like, I'm going to water. I'm going to drown. I'm saying, so I turn left again. I wound up making all left turns. And went way out there around the boat, and I was like stuck. I'm like, somebody help me. Help me. I can't turn right. And they said, just turn it. And I go to try to turn. I start tipping over. I said, so I wound up, and nobody would come help me. I swear.
They thought you were playing?
Huh?
They just thought you were playing?
I don't know what they
didn't
thought.
matter. They just didn't help.
Man, the boat looked like so small. I got so far away from the boat. It looked like a little boat, boat. Yeah. I said, oh my God. I started praying. All the best prayers I had. And mustard. The guy, please give me back. I'll never do this again in my life. I promise you. And I'll eat all my cereal or whatever.
Right.
I was praying everything I could. Just get me back to the boat. And I kept making left turns. And it would go a little bit. And I go I'm like this. And I went all the way out there. I prayed. I couldn't stop, because then when you stop, you're really going to tilt over and fall over. So I kept making turns left until finally, gradually, I started getting back toward the boat. Now I'm by myself, scared to death. Finally got toward the boat. I'm saying, help. Finally, they heard when I got close enough. They came out there with this, and they got it one side, and helped me guide it back to the thing, and they took control. I said, that was so frightening, man. And I got video, because one of the guys videotaped it. He gave me video of it. It's so funny, man. I was like scared to death. And I don't know how I got back to that boat, because I couldn't turn right. I didn't know how to control this thing. And it kept, it don't just go straight, just do like this. And when you're afraid to death of drowning in water, it's the most frightening thing.
It's terrifying, man, if you can't swim.
Terrifying, man. So I finally got back. I promise God I'll never do that again. And I haven't done that again. I have no intentions of doing it again, And anyway, that was my...
That's great. That's a great story.
I would survive that.
That was brave.
I thought I was going to go under, and I was so far away from the boat that they would have found the thing laying on the side, and I would have been at the bottom of the lake. It kept feeling like I'm about to go.
Well, that could have happened.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up in Miami, and I grew up on the water. I do know how to swim. I learned when I was a kid, but I also learned it was no joke.
Yes. When I saw my brother's friend, his arm dangling, and this was the best swimmer in the city with trophies, and he was dead. I got traumatized, and that's why I'm relating and why I am like I am, because I saw the result of somebody who what happens when you drown.
Right.
And I saw it. I'm standing right there, like 10 feet from the paramedics, and they said he's gone. And anyway, I've been having fear of big bodies of water. But they talked me into, Terry talked me in, Terry said, "Don't be that bad." He probably laughed if he listened to this thing. But I've got up enough nerve, regretfully and reluctantly, and I went out there to try to prove I'm brave too, like you guys, and I regretted it.
Right.
You know? I look back, got the video to laugh at, but I'll never, ever do that again.
It's a great story. So, Jonathan, let me ask you my closing questions. And that I ask all of my guests. The first of 3 questions is, since this show is called Making It, what does making it mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Making it means that the fulfillment of a little boy's dream, because I saw this and I pictured this for me, but which everybody does in their dreams. They picture this resolution, or this realization of where I am in my career now, and all the things you know about me and the listeners know about me. You have that in your mind. Before I left New Orleans, I had that kind of vision. I knew it and I felt it. But in reality, it may not be possible. It may not be meant for you. You have to just go out there and put yourself in a position to make it be meant for you. And I'm glad I took that chance and did it. So I told you early on about my story of how I became Jonathan Sugarfoot Moffett, the star. And that reluctant last vision in New Orleans is me being on the porch rocking in that rocking chair, saying, well, I wonder what would have happened if I'd have just had faith and went and gave myself the chance. But I didn't, so I guess I'm here rocking in this rocking chair, not a drummer anymore, working at 7-Eleven or somewhere else, not that that's not respectable, but doing something other than I dreamt about, because I didn't believe in myself or God enough to step on that limit of faith. And God meets you the other halfway, and He pulls you in, and that's what happened. So that's one of the things that is that my little boy's dream, beyond his dream, because I thought about one artist,
right?
And you saw the list.
Yeah. By the way, just Google Jonathan Moffett if you don't know the list. We don't have enough time in this show to go through all the credits and stories.
Yes, I never imagine it being going to be like this.
Yeah,
extremely blowing my mind and grateful, because it's beyond what I wished for. But God said, "You believed in me. You walked out on that branch that was about to break, that was broken. You still stepped on it, and you went out there, and therefore I'm going to reward you beyond your highest dream, greatest dreams." And He did. And look at my life. My life is a reflection of the grace of God when you believe it.
It's so great to hear you say that, because number one, I'm happy for you and proud of this beautiful life that you have made and created as a friend and as a peer. But also, it reminds me of me. I mean, in that I didn't want to get to the end of my life and look back and say, what if? I needed to just find out.
Yeah.
If it was possible to have the life, to create the lives that we've had. Mm-hmm. Not always easy. It's we're talking about a lot of the good stuff. We haven't dipped into the slow times and the in-betweens and all of those things. And which perhaps we could do some other time if you want to come back on the show, and we can elaborate on some of those things, but that's propelled me also and driven me, I didn't want to be sitting on the rocking chair, looking back, thinking, what if you didn't go for it? What if you didn't do it? And
why I didn't have enough faith in myself, on God, and try to take that. Why I didn't take that chance? Why wasn't I strong enough? I should have had a stronger sense of mentality and will to take that chance. Now look at me. Right.
Sitting on this chair.
Yeah, rocking chair.
Sitting on this porch.
Yeah.
Jonathan, my second question of 3 is, can you share 3 tips for success that have driven your career?
What we spoke about is that faith. First of all, recognizing that you're nothing without the seed and the gift from God. So, but there's 2 parts of the gifts. It's having it. And then the second part is recognizing it. Some people say, well, I tried that, I can't do it. But you didn't try it enough to see if it was meant for you. You didn't try it enough to develop into something. You tried it once, rat-a-tat-tat, oh, I can't play drums. Wait a minute, that's not seeing if you can do something. And a lot of people do that. I tried to play a beat one day and I just didn't have it. What about the next day? You could have played that beat if you did it again. So that's the second part of the gift, is recognizing it. And the third part is recognizing the gift, then having the determination to see enough there that I'm going to really dedicate myself to this. So one of the things is dedication to whatever you choose to do. It doesn't have to be drumming, it could be music, it could be art, it could be sports, it could be a motivational speaker, a doctor, a nurse, lawyer, whatever. You got to have that drive and that vision, and create something from nothing. That's another thing that shows the worst in the sense of a person, and the fortitude and the focus and dedication when you can create a life and a career from nothing. Because we all start with nothing. Ever think about it? We all start with nothing.
Right.
Even a dream is nothing until you bring it to realization. So when you have that and you've done that, you realize, this is meant for me, or I made it meant for me, or it was all in God's plan in the first place. But I think it's all of three. Mm-hmm. So I think other thing is spending time with you, especially musicians, spending all the time you can with your instrument, because your instrument is you. If you're dedicated, you have to bring yourself in the instrument to be one. When I'm with my drums, just sit there. They don't make a sound. It's beautiful. They're hot. They sit there looking gorgeous, incredible. I don't hear nothing though.
Right.
Only until I sit on there and I apply my soul, my spirit, my physicality to it. Then me and the drums. And I'm nothing without the drums. I hit air with sticks all the time. You hear that. Mm-hmm. But when I join the two together, like my favorite candy, Reese's peanut butter cup, you put that together. Oh my God! You know what you got when you take that in your mouth? Oh man, that's unbelievable! Right? I love it. But me and my drums become Reese's peanut butter cup. Right. The two elements and flavors together, we become something special. And that's only because I spent most of my life behind that set of drums. Right. So whatever set, or many sets of drums, I spent most of my time of my life dedicated in the mindset and focus on what I'm doing when I sit on the drums. Mm-hmm. Nothing else matters, like I said before. Only what I'm trying to create, and where I can take my spirit, and my spirit can take me when I'm creating something, in the flow of creating something. Right. Just playing a beat. I'll always start with play one rhythm. My thing is I get on the set of practice, hit something. I don't care what it is, just whatever. And hear the rhythm and the melody in that, and then repeat it. Make it become a constant cadence of rhythm. And then while I'm playing that, and I'm into it, so yeah, that's cool. While I'm playing that, I'm listening to the fragments and the segment of what I'm playing. Then I hear another creative, inspirational thing, little fragment of that, what I'm playing. I say, that's cool. Now, then I segue into making that a rhythm and a repetitive rhythm, and it becomes something whole new. You know what I'm saying? And while I'm playing that, I'm excited about that. Oh my God! But I'm getting something in their pattern and combination of rhythms. And I said, oh, that could be another song of drums, rhythm. I segue without stopping, one to the other, and I'm always subdividing it into several different things. And an hour or 2 hours later, I played the whole, and that's why I recorded, because I never would remember it. So, but I played a whole gamut of things, rhythms and patterns. Each one of them could be a song I could build upon. Right. And it's a song on the drums, But the thing I'm saying about that is to develop yourself in a creative flow of creativity, not just being to play one beat, one groove, one beat like that, one feel, whatever. You have to make it like a flow of rhythm, whatever you're playing, guitar, whatever. It's got to be a flow. You can't hear the notes, the individual notes. You got to hear the melody of it as a orchestration, as a song, as a composition is what I'm saying. Yeah. As a composition.
It's a composition and a conversation.
That's what it is. Yeah, you got to listen within what you're doing to find another conversation to take it to. And what that does, it develops your creative flow. And that way you'll never run out of things to say when you get down on it. Right. You'll never be speechless. And I've developed since a young boy, I thought like that. I don't never want to be speechless on my instruments. I want to be able to talk comedy, because we do it's talk, it's conversation with people, And our execution is our mouth. to their ears
Mm-hmm.
and their heart and soul. So I want to always have something beautiful and creative to do. So I practiced like that, and I wouldn't stop for like an hour, segueing from one thing to the other, subdividing and taking fragments and making a collage of rhythms, and that developed my creative flow that I can play drums on anything. I can do a drum solo on a ballad, on a slow song.
Right.
Because I worked on that. I don't want to ever be speechless and they give me a drum solo on a ballad. They say, oh, I don't know how to play drum on so ballad.
Mm-hmm.
I just listen and learn. I learned to listen to the rhythms within rhythm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because of every rhythm, there is rhythm.
Right.
But then between every note or spaces, I don't care how tight they are, there's space.
Right.
Room to be creative within that space or around that space. So that's my philosophy on it. And I learned to develop the science of it, that I'll never be speechless.
Right.
And I'll always be creative. And I'll always be, most importantly, musical.
Right. May I add one more thing to your list, because I know this is something that you have practiced and that it's been a really integral part of your career. I was going to use the word integrity, but it's bigger than that. It's your word. When you give your word, you personally, you stick to it.
Yes.
And I know that's been really important to you, because we share that, the value of our word, but we've spoken about that through various points of our career when we have come across challenging situations,
Yes.
musically, business-wise, timing, scheduling.
Yes.
But, when you tell somebody you're going to be there, you've always been there, regardless of who else asked you to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And
True.
what they offered you to try to get you to not be someplace else.
Well, your word is your sense of wealth. Your word is your sense of worth
Yeah.
in the world and in the industry. And a sense of self-worth. You feel good when you live up to your word.
Mm-hmm.
It's something about doing the right thing. There's a reward inside spiritually. When I do the right thing, I feel happy and smile inside. I feel the goodness of good. I feel that sense of good. There's a feeling it's a sense of goodness and good. You know it. Because
Mm-hmm.
we smile, we feel it. Even though we smile facially, we're smiling inside because I did something good. I know I did good. I'm happy I did that. So there's a value to that. And for me, it's always been a hunger for that, to please people. And knowing the right things from the wrong things. And when you give your word, you can stick to your word, even if it hurts you. And that's happened for me, but I faced up to it and say, well, I can't, there's nothing I can do. I can't get out of that. When somebody offered me something way more lucrative, but
Sure.
I've got a contract, I just said, well, I've got to leave this to get all that money. No, I felt like, the value of who I am is when I say to people, what I promise people. And that gives me credibility, and it gives me a sense of also self-worth and gratification that I can have that discipline. Like, go back to the word discipline,
Mm-hmm.
to do the right thing. When the temptation is to do the wrong thing and get all that money we got.
Sure. Right.
A lot of stuff with that. But no, that's not right. That's not right. You offend this person, the word's going to get out on you for number one, but also this person is going to have a negative connotation in his mind or experience in his mind left about you. You want him to walk around with that. You can't erase it once it's done. I don't like that. I like people feel good about me. Then I feel good about myself. So I stick to my word because I said something, I agreed to something, I promised something,
Right.
and I think it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, for certain. I lived that.
Mm-hmm.
I lived it. And I've lived the fallout of losing out because I did the right thing. But that's part of life in the game, and it's kind of how you want to feel about you, walk around feeling about yourself, and that's most important. I can't run away from myself. You can't run away from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If I think bad about what I've done and the things that I've got, like I said, at the end of my life, I got all these memories of the bad things, of the things I did, let myself down as well as other people. That's not a gratifying life.
Right.
I'll live there with regret. And I don't want to live in my life with regret. I want to live with happy thoughts. The last thing my mind remembers is happy thoughts, joyous thoughts. So when I pass away, hopefully I have a smile on my face. I lived well. I lived right. I made a lot of people happy. And most of all, I made God happy because I lived his way, the right way. I'm on God's side. I always tell people, no, I'm not on your side. I'm not on your side. I'm on God's side.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I live my life.
Jonathan, my closing question to you is, at this point of your life, with everything that you know to be true, what would you tell your younger self little Jonathan Moffett in New Orleans, 4 years old, starting to draw, not even drumming yet?
Let me see here. What's my younger self when I look back? One thing I would say, I draw and everything, but I didn't keep continuing. I still draw a little bit. I'm rusty, but I regret that I don't have a huge collection of my artwork, because I had some back in the day, but there was a fire at my mother's home and burned everything I did on my. All of it's gone. I regret that. It still hurts me to this day. And I got a lot of work from my times in LA, but not as much as I should have.
Right.
Once you get busy in the touring, as you know, recording a business life, that industry and that artistry, you lose time at the other thing, because you're so busy not only doing the performance end of things, traveling into things, but the business end of things. Doing basically the own business. So you got to regulate and run your own business and be business minded. So, and then you got the family. So it's not a little time like we used to have, where it was just us trying to mess around in clubs and go draw or whatever. It's different. It's a business. Our life and careers, all businesses that we run. So I've had time that I could draw, but I got into other things in life, and pleasurable things and fun things. But I regret that I let the art thing go, because I can see now all the great pieces and different things, and how much better I could have been as a graphic artist than I am now. So I kind of let myself down in that in that regard, because I'm not as good at that as I am on my drum, because I spend more time on my drums. But I could have brought them up parallel. So I would say to the little boy, don't ever stop drawing, because you have that gift as well, just as equally as you have the drumming gift. And that is a gift from God. You should never waste it. And you should always, you can or should have paralleled it and brought it along, because it would have been wonderful for me to go in my storage or somewhere, and this whole collection of artworks I could have amassed in all of this time. Look at it, I say I have very little to show for the last 42 years. And I regret that, because I love art and drawing almost as much as drumming. But one has to suffer, and it's hard to be in two places at one time. But I could have done more to be in that place.
Right.
I regret that, and I would say, I should have done that. I look back at my life, I wish I could change that and done more. My art, because I love drawing, the time spent, the mindset, inner mind world, trying to draw right, the line straight. It's a beautiful, wonderful, creative place to be when you're in the inner world. Nothing in the outer world affects you in that amount of peace that you have inside. You don't hear nothing else, see nothing else but that vision you're creating. I miss that element in that environment that I deprived myself of by not doing it.
Well, there's no time like today.
Oh yeah, I was starting that. I already bought stuff already.
There you go.
Color pencils, markers, and I bought a lot of stuff recently to say, you need to get back in.
Good.
And I really want to do that. I want to design some new things here.
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. It always is. But this is a very rare treat that our live VIP audience and everybody else is listening get to sit in with us on. We never really get to just sit and talk because there's a downbeat or a deadline or something that we're on. So this has really been great to do with you and to share with our listeners. And everybody go to jonathanmoffett.com. Is that correct? Which your
world. Jonathan Moffett, Sugarfoot.world.
.world?
Yes,
Great. And if you forget, just Google Jonathan Moffett.
Yes.
You will be able to find and listen to and see and hear more stories and information, and just to stay in touch in continuing to support Jonathan as the artist that he is, and staying in touch, and for this book that's going to be coming out and all kinds of really great things. I just can't wait to see what you do next. So Jonathan, thank you for spending this time with me. On behalf of Jonathan and I, we deeply love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. Stay safe and stay inspired.
I love you one and all. You give us all worth in the industry. I appreciate you so much. God bless you all.
Tune in again next week for another great episode of Making It with Terry Woolman.